You had just moved on the beach. You had been kicked out of your apartment. You hadn't yet slept on the beach
Well,
yet. You were.
technically, I couldn't get kicked out of my apartment because it was during COVID, but it was not in alignment for me to stay there because the person whose apartment that was subletting to me, they didn't want me there.
I'm assuming you didn't have a contract either because at this point you're not spending cash money anymore, I believe.
This was in June 2020. As I said, I had moved to Santa Monica from a 3-bedroom townhouse. I was in Huntington Beach, and I basically gave that space to this woman, and we had this big falling out. And my way of doing repair work was I was reading this book called Love is Letting Go of Fear. I thought to myself, it's really easy to love my children. It's really easy to love flowers, easy to love baby animals, but it's hard to love somebody who's hurting me. And it was easy to love this person when she was being kind and respectful. Now she's not being kind and she's not being respectful. So it's hard to love her. I saw this as like an exercise for my spiritual muscle. This was when my money basically ran out and there wasn't any left. So at the time, I had studied massage, hypnotherapy, and yoga. I could have taught any of those. I created flow strokes, which is a combination of all three. That I basically decided I'm not going to be for sale. And flow strokes is not for sale. And if you sell it, it's not flow strokes. My landlord person who was subletting to me didn't like this because this meant that I wasn't going to pay her rent. I was not willing to be for sale anymore. This had consequences. One of the consequences was that she became angry and her energy weighed very heavy on me. I asked my higher self, what do I do? And my higher self said, leave, because you can't stay here and you don't have anywhere to go, so go to the beach. So I took all my stuff and something called me. It called me to this hill at Breeze Avenue. And I don't know what it was, but I was like, universe, take me where I'm supposed to go. And I went to Breeze Avenue, and that hill changed me, and I changed that hill. And I proclaimed that this hill will change the world. I took everything I owned, and I built a little hut out of my stuff. You know those cubby things that you could get from IKEA, and they have 1 foot by 1 foot squares, and they go up 5 and across 5, and I have 2. I take my square things, and then I have these big giant 10-foot long by 5-foot wide, these were these huge mirror closet doors. Those are the ceiling. So I have this hut. Can't stand up, it's too low. I built this hut, and the neighbors, they were like, oh, the healing hut. I'm like, yeah, the healing hut. And then I dubbed myself, I'm Daisy the Venice Healer. And I'm here to awaken and unite us. And do you see all these walk streets between the garden apartments and between Speedway, which is the street that runs along the beach, the coast? It's the alley street. Then there's Pacific Avenue. And the people who live between these two streets have a walk street, which means they have a beautiful sidewalk where their homes face each other. There's no streets or anything. And they could just look at each other. People have to drive in the back of their homes, but the front of their homes, there's no traffic. And I said, let's bulldoze these walk streets and make them walk through gardens. Biodiversified food forests. Let's not have animal shelters. Let's let animals be free again. And let's have the beach be a new world that we create. A new human creates a new world. I had all these ideas and everyone came. If you look up the Healing Hut, Venice Beach, Daisy the Venice Healer, you could probably find pictures of it. It had acacia wood flooring, interlocking tiles, 1 foot by 1 foot. After 2 weeks, we demolished the Healing Hut. I realized the city's not going to mess with us, and we could just stay here. I said, it's time to build. So we went to Home Depot. We got supplies to build 11-foot high ceilings. We used the closet doors, the mirrors, so that the mirrors faced down, and the ceiling was quite dramatic, and it slanted. So it was 11 feet high here and 8 feet here. So it was a 3-foot slant with the mirror, and it was all structurally engineered perfectly because I'm a genius and I was the engineer. It was beautiful, and there was a space in between, and then another smaller mirror, and then in the space that was in between, there was like these 2 spaces. We put beautiful, gorgeous leaves from the beautiful palm trees in the area. And it was the most beautiful temple in the world. I called it the DOJO. And it was still called the Healing Hut, but it was the DOJO. And I was like, yo, come to the dojo. And they're like, what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to read nonviolent communication books with a headset on and a microphone. Then I will pass the headset and microphone to you. You could read the book too. Also, during this whole time, I will be dancing on bodies. Yes, I learned to do this in Venice Beach on the hill, and I would tell people lie on the ground. I would just like walk around and balance, like just stepping on people. And I would practice like balancing on bodies and dancing on bodies. All of a sudden, there was like all these bodies all over the dance, all over the beautiful Akasha wood floors, and I'm dancing all over them. I'm a broken woman because I miss my kids, and they just terminated my rights. I went to the beach calling myself Daisy the Venice Healer, the same way you go into Alcoholics Anonymous and you say I'm Daisy the alcoholic. That's because I'm there to heal my alcoholism, and I was there to heal my trauma. So I was like, I'm Daisy the Venice Healer, yo. Like, I'm here to heal you, because in being of service, I learned from being sober in Alcoholics Anonymous and working a serious program for 2 whole years and having my beautiful sobriety and continuing to work a program every day to this day. In fact, I had a therapy call today, I had a therapy call yesterday, I have a therapy call tomorrow. I love working a program, and this is with licensed psychologists 3 days in a row. Another coach on Friday. Like, I love working on myself. I got to this point where, like, I lost my kids. I felt so hurt. And I needed to go somewhere where other people felt like I made sense, because I was going and doing all of these speeches. I heard Tony Robbins go, I created this motherfucker. So what I did is, as soon as COVID happened and I realized that I wasn't going to get to see my kids, I started to like kind of protest and learn how to do this thing called star manning. And I was learning nonviolent communication. So I was like trying to talk about the amygdala and things like that. And I was going to the courthouses and all these places in Orange County. So for 3 months, I had practices like doing speeches. I was training myself. I decided, like, I even told my social worker, her name was Megan. I was like, Megan, goddess, I am going to raise an army, my queen. I will free us from these domination systems that I know that you are suffering in, and I am suffering too. And they are causing us to be against each other and causing you to interview everyone in my family and turn them against me and me against them. And it's just not supposed to be this way. So I'm letting you know I'm going to raise an army of parents with the power of our love and the glory of our care and empathy and more. We are going to change the world. And I will come with that army of parents, and I will come back to get my kids. I told her this. And I made this affirmation. I just started to go do speeches. I was doing speeches. It wasn't enough to talk to the social workers. Like, they wouldn't meet with me at this point. So I started to go to the CPS offices and do speeches. And then I was breaking out in the metal bracelets all the time. So for 3 months in Orange County, I was like getting arrested, going on 5150s. Went to LA County, then I was getting arrested, going on 5150s. And I was catching cases and getting a rap sheet. This is in addition to the 3 felonies of my kids. Like, after basically a year and a half of parental alienation and the devastation of my bleeding heart on the ground being stomped on by social workers and judges and police and enforcers, playing God with my life, though knowing nothing about me, and not listening to the professionals of my world, just listening to the enemy imaging being done through the investigating. This was all played out while my kids were like being ridden hard through industry and being abused by foster family after foster family, after placement, after literally spending time in orphanages. And my baby daughter was in an orphanage and went to a group home. Could you imagine being in a group home for babies? My daughter's third placement, she got adopted in. My boy's third placement was my mother. And my roommate had just gotten done testifying in court against me, the one who stole my furniture and stole my home during COVID, because she didn't have to leave, so I did. And I played a part in that. And I said, you know, please forgive me. Everything here is a gift to you. I love you. I want you to have it. It doesn't have bad energy at all. It has good energy. There's no bad juju, because everything here has been blessed by me. And all of what you see is yours. I give it to you. Because before leaving my home, I left so quickly that I just went to a hotel. I put all of my stuff, this was like the last of my money, because I wasn't working anymore. And I wasn't going to be for sale anymore, you know, because I wasn't going to sell flow strokes. At this point, I was selling hypnosis, yoga, and bodywork. I wasn't going to sell anything. And I knew this, you know, but I needed a home. And COVID, I didn't have to leave, but it was like the universe told me I had to leave there. And I put all my stuff in the garage. When I went back to get my stuff, the lock had been broken, and the garage had been basically raided, and the house had been refurnished. My stuff had been stolen. I just let her know that it's a gift, that I want her to have it, and that there was a lock there, and it was taken off. But I'm glad that it was, and I'm glad that she has it. This other profound shift was also fear to love, and it was forgiving my roommate. It took me 3 days to fall in love with her. And I remember like the enemy imaging would come up, but she did this and she said this, and I would feel the waves shudder and breathe, or do whatever my body needed to do, and love myself up all the way through it. I couldn't do my hot yoga because all the yoga studios were closed, but I knew hot yoga, I knew breath work, I knew meditation, I knew juicing, I knew having a winter schedule, I knew self-soothing, I knew massage. So I was just doing that for myself and loving this person up. So I had this pivotal shift, and I was so alone. I left my home in Santa Monica because I knew when I got there that I didn't have money to pay rent. And it wasn't more than like a month or two. Like, there was so much clutter in there, I had to get a bunch of that stuff out. And there was like the riots going on. I made the mistake of taking a bunch of her books and getting them out of there because there was just too many. And I see that I did it like right after all my stuff got stolen. Then like I got hurt, and then I hurt the woman where I was staying, so I did like the same thing. And then that really hurt me because I was like, whoa. I repeated what happened. Like, this woman stole my stuff, and then I kind of did the same to her. Like I like threw her stuff away. When it came time to steal her home, like, this woman was going to steal my home. She was going to live in my 3-bedroom townhouse. I was not going to stop her. And she was going to live there with me if I stayed. I thought about it. I was like, I hurt this woman. I impacted her. I harmed her. It was done to me. And I said, I'm not going to steal her home. I'm not going to, like, keep it going. When I went to the beach, like, in no way was I thinking, like, I'm the teacher. I have the wisdom. I'm the healer. So that's why I explained to you what healer meant. And that's what I meant. You know, that's what I was saying about how we are healing ourselves. You know, that's what I mean by that.